Let's talk about Alone in the Dark, okay? Some of you might be familiar with this title as it's the precursor of the survival horror genre. And I'm not going to talk about the newest Alone in the Dark, which is simply called Alone in the Dark, but the old one, the very first Alone in the Dark, which was called Alone in the Dark. So let's talk about Alone in the Dark! I decided to give that game a test of time. Can it still enchant us with its atmosphere and scare us, despite the fact that its models have less grace than Tetris blocks? Well, that depends really on what do you like in games. Alone in the Dark is a mystery-focused survival horror title that exploits the classic haunted house trope. Our job is to explore this appealing as a Chinese dinner in abortion clinic mansion and investigate a fucking piano. We get to choose one of two characters, Emily Hartwood or Edward Canby. I decided to go with the man, I mean this mustache is a total seller. So right at the start we get trapped in the house and we begin the game in the attic. But before we get there we see the cutscene in which our hero goes through the other rooms of the house. This is a spot-on design choice, helping us navigate the area better and have our objective better presented to the player. Also, it's very handy in planning the route to avoid monsters that are swarming in the mansion. And it's good to avoid any confrontations because combat is fucking horrible. Your characters move slow like a serial killer with confidence issues, and when you get surrounded you are as good as dead. But the biggest problem I had with the combat system is that it's easy to fall into a frame trap. What's a frame trap, you ask? Well, it's something linked to the flawed design, in which the attacks of A are way faster than the attacks of B, which gives B no possibility of performing a full attack because it's immediately interrupted by A. Therefore, you might end up in an infinite loop of receiving hits until you die, because the attacks of your opponent leave you no time to fully counterattack, duck or escape. It's bad, because you need to time your attacks perfectly with such precision as it was a fucking Dance Dance Revolution contest in a Gestapo prison. Aside from that, we often need to find many different items that are helpful in finishing the game. You know, standard stuff, take this, take that, put that here, put that in there. The amount of things you can carry is limited, but it's so huge you barely notice it. You can take with you a shotgun, a bow and an arrow, a pot, some vile books, a fucking gramophone and a lot of weird shit. Well, at least it's better than in Resident Evil, where you can carry a pistol, a shotgun, a knife and a bazooka, but a piece of paper is way too much. And if we're comparing these two, I can say that for the survival horror genre, Alone in the Dark is like Wolfenstein 3D to FPSs, while Resi 1 would be Doom, not the one who started it all, but the one that stole the spotlight and defined the brand. Still, the huge differences are apparent. Using the term survival horror as a point of reference, I'd say that Resi is more interested in survival, while AIDDT clings to horror. Survival also plays a role, but on a much smaller scale. For some people it might be a flaw. At the beginning of our adventure the game is really unforgiving. Traps, lousy controls and not many things to protect ourselves with. I got a sword! Yeah! Oh, it broke. Then there are less enemies, but we get more weapons, so surviving is naturally a struggle. Shit, nothing really is a struggle when you have a shotgun hidden in your pants. That makes the difficulty rather unbalanced, and the high death count of the game's first half an hour can be a real turn-off. Well, at least it's easier than Resident Evil and Hunters at least. God damn it! Fuck this game! Fuck it! I'm not doing it anymore. Fuck it. I don't care. I'm going to play Ghost Simulator. Fuck this game. However, Alone in the Dark provides an interesting story that is heavily influenced by Cthulhu mythos created by H.P. Lovecraft. Ah, fuck it, it just steals directly from his works. We see references to Cthulhu, Dagon, Shub-Niggurath, we get to see and read infamous grimoires such as the Necronomicon or Vermis Mysteries. And none of this stuff really is necessary to complete the game, but it pulls us deeper into a story that is really good at being mysterious, unsettling and totally fucking batshit weird. And these are not just obscure Amnesia-style Easter egg-like references. The entire story of the game is based on that mythology. We even encounter some of its creatures. This is Dagon. Say hi to Dagon. Also, the game claims that it's a Chthonian, doesn't really look like one, but heck, who am I to judge a weird old monster from out of space? And Lindsay Lohan. Weirdly enough, game incorporates a lot of laughably cliché elements. I mean, with all this mystic setup, we get to see the scares like from a Disneyland haunted house, a Native American throwing axe, armor that suddenly moves, or the campiest laugh ever. Not even the cabin in the woods would go this far. It all seems like it's taken from some kids' horror TV series like Tales from the Crypt, Goosebumps or some garbage like that. All this contrasting campy stuff may be unappealing to some people, but to me it has a sort of charm similar to Evil Dead. Not really scary, but damn, this movie is awesome. Does this old game hold up after so many years? I can't really give you an exhaustive answer. Age doesn't do this game any favors, it's really archaic and the bad graphics and controls can be really uninviting. I mean, fucking Minecraft has more polygons than this, but it's still a good horror game. And if you are a fan of Lovecraft and his cosmic horror and things that transcend the boundaries of our minds, and the names such as Yog-Sothoth, Shoggoth or Atlach-Naha don't sound to you like some weird attractions on a Hungarian countryside, this is a must-have. And if you ever wanted to read the Necronomicon, you can do it in this game. But beware of the consequences. Wait, what the fuck? I'm going to compare this game to an old veteran in a senior house. He can tell you an interesting story of his past, but he falls asleep a few times, loses track of what he was saying, forgets who you are and defecates in his pantaloons. But you can still hear a really interesting story if you only have some patience. And a defibrillator. Shit, I don't know how to end a video, so if you liked it and you want to see more, please click subscribe. Also follow me on Twitter, Facebook and other stuff like that. And basically that's it, so yeah, bye!